NRL Prelim Finals 2025. We're going to be giving you guys our tips, our predictions, and our condolences if you're a Doggies fan or a Raiders fan. Now, Miles, before we get into this, a moment of silence.
Let's bow our heads.
All right, that's enough.
Okay, cool.
Canberra, that was rough. That was rough. But look, you could say they're heading in the right direction. They lose Fogarty, though, so that's a tough situation. And the Dogs, Burton might be leaving the club. There's a few things going on there.
There's a couple of questions around the Dogs, isn't there? It's really interesting. I do really want to echo your words, though, on the Raiders. Like, first team in 16 years to win the minor premiership and go out not winning a finals game. That one's got to hurt. And no doubt Ricky with his, I think it was a 1 minute and 30-second press conference after the game. It told the entire story. Doesn't like doing press conferences for too long when he loses, Ricky Stewart. So,
they copped it. But Cronulla, man, Cronulla turned up. And like Cronulla,
Absolutely.
I think they came into this final series with a 1-7 record. So for them, you come in here with very little confidence. And like Mulatalo was sort of chirping a bit before the finals, and he's backed it up with great form.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's in hot form. A lot of these Sharks guys are, to tell you the truth. Will Kennedy, I'm still a bit iffy on. I think we're always going to have question marks over Will Kennedy, but Hines stood up last week as far as I'm concerned, and then Billy Burns. Like
Billy Burns. Billy Burns won me $800 in our draft league.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
He carried me through the finals. As soon as the core went down, shout out to Jock, by the way, who copped it from Billy Burns in that final. But he's been a machine.
Me too. I was part of the carnage along the way to that.
You were the week
to
before.
That grand final as well.
Billy Burns was cooking all of you. But no, he's been fantastic and runs a nice line. He's keeping Britton Nakora on the bench. He goes to the middle as well. And he scored that try last week, just sort of skipping across the field. Yeah. Very Hayne 09 against the Dragons-esque from Billy Burns. And
then you got Teague Wilton, who scored a try himself as well. So like they've got some guys, some dudes stepping up. I think without Cam McInnes, they definitely need something like that as well. He's their captain out there. So you need all these other guys stepping up. Maybe it's galvanized them a little bit, having McInnes go down, right? We need to get it together.
Yeah, a bit of strike there. Look, the other thing we want to talk about, and actually we'll come back to this because I want to talk about this key point here. You jump to the Storm here, and the question is, which version of Jarom Hughes do we get in this game? So he's obviously coming back in record time from it. It's a broken arm, right? Like,
it's a forearm break.
Yeah.
I knew he'd play this week, so I'm not surprised to see him in the team. I think the lack of trust in guys like Wishart to maybe save him for this grand final, that's possibly coming up for them. It's very telling to me. So I think Wishart probably doesn't know his place in this team at this point. But with Hughes coming back into the team, I think it's huge for them. And as you can see by the stat line that we have there, what Hughes are we going to get?
Well, let me give it to you because start of the year, obviously, does that shoulder injury, and that was plaguing him all year. And as a fantasy coach, most of the viewers here are fantasy coaches too. You were watching him and sort of waiting for him to bounce back to full strength. He was wincing and he wasn't looking great, wasn't playing as physical. And we saw it in the numbers here. So rounds 1 to 13 on the right side there, 74 meters a game, 1.5 tackle busts, and 0.2 tries a game. You then get that hot run between round 14 and 20 when he's fully fit, 106 meters a game. So you're up about 30 meters. You got 4.3 tackle busts. So you're tripling that tackle bust rate. He's scoring a try nearly every game at that point. Now, I look at this game here and I think they need Jarom Hughes at his absolute best because it's really a battle of the halves. Like, who can create more points out of Jarom Hughes and Cam Munster or Braden Trindle and Nico Hines? I probably need to mention Pappenhausen, but he's been more of a support player recently. Like, hasn't really had that running game really unlocked this year. So I think it's about the halves and their creativity. And at the moment, you'd say advantage to Trindle and Hines, wouldn't you?
You got a lot of critics on Pappenhausen's game at the moment. A lot of people saying he's not good enough to be wearing the number 1 jersey for Melbourne.
Wow.
I've found that Ryan always manages to find a way to silence some critics as well. So I expect a big game from him in this one. People don't actually realize how important he is sometimes to their defensive structure. Like, yes, it's all good and well to put Nick Meaney or Silfea Longo at the back, and they can sometimes
It's not Meaney. They're putting Munster back there.
Yeah.
Instead of Meaney. Like,
look, I'd prefer Meaney. If you were to go to a second option, for me it'd be Meaney and then Silfea Longo. And Silfea Longo being the electric live wire, we know we can get it.
Yeah. God, he's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go get a highlight play out of him, but I think other than that, under the high ball defensively, it doesn't really work that well. But Ryan's communication with the halves and the relationship he has with guys like Munster and Hughes, I mean, he runs a podcast with them. Yeah. Like, you have to be in good cahoots with your 6, 7, 9 as a fullback to be able to, and these guys have also gone to very deep in finals together as well. So they know the pressure of this game. The Sharks, the pressure gauge is at full tilt right now, and they've been answering.
It's gone.
They've been
mate.
answering.
It's gone. It popped off.
Yeah.
The lid popped off it.
Yeah,
It's
and they've been
fizzled
answering.
out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that,
yeah, they're good. They're
I
happy.
almost feel like, is the monkey off their back? I don't know.
Mate,
I think it
so.
might be after.
Look at these two games. You beat the Roosters 20-10, right? And the Roosters had a few fluky little plays in that one to stay in it. They really dominated the Chooks. You got 32-12 against Canberra.
Yeah, who are massive forward pack.
They haven't copped that any game this year, Canberra. And look, Ethan Stranger's out, so that's going to reduce their scoring capabilities. But 32 points to run it up. Billy Burns, like we talked about. We've got Teague Wilton there. We've got Nico Hines combining with Trindle in a way which we haven't seen this year. So signs are good.
For me, this bench of the Sharks is quite scary in the sense that I feel like each dude offers something.
Yeah.
You got Nikora, who's a great line runner. We know that of Nikora. The fact that he's benched at the moment just shows how good Billy Burns and Teague Wilton are playing. Then you got Sifa Talakai, who's just a ball of muscle, who can come on, play middle, play edge, play center. I don't care where you put Sifa Talakai, he can have an impact. Then you got Oregon Kafusi, who loves to offload. And then Hamlin Uele is just another big body. I actually think he should be starting over a guy like Toby Rudolph. Toby Rudolph the last couple of weeks has been really ill-disciplined. I really didn't like what he was offering them last week. He's not really making any game-breaking runs, but he doesn't have to because he's got Adam Fanua-Blake next to him.
Well, let's talk about that there because that combo has worked well at times, right? He scored that try a couple of weeks ago as well. Fanua-Blake is – the stats aren't jumping off the page in the finals, but Fanua-Blake's been dominant. Like the post-contact meters – just the way he generates momentum for them at times where they need it. And last week they needed it a bunch. Like they were really that first half. Canberra's up 6-0 with 5 minutes to go in the first half.
And you got Tarpany and Horsburgh and Papali'i to run out.
Hemmed in, right? And AFB had to do a lot to carry them back into that one. They scored 2 late tries in the half and didn't look back from there. But Canberra dominated for the first 35 minutes. And Fanua-Blake was a big part of dragging that back. You then have Rudolph running on the back of him as well, that second run. And he did make some mistakes, but that has been effective as a 1-2 punch.
Well, I'd say the 1-2 punch is the Fanua-Blake run followed by the Brayley run on the back of it. As you were saying, Fanua-Blake dominates in post-contact meters, but Blake Brayley this year has been exceptional. Easily, I would say, the best hooker in the league.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't know why it's being discussed.
He's been so good at picking his moments this year as well, and it's shown by the amount of try assists he's had this year. The way he sparks the Sharks' attack, or he almost sparks them into life most of the time. And you'll see once they start to get down in games, he'll look for opportunities this year, especially to kind of break them out of that cycle and get guys like Hines and Trindle working together. It's been amazing from Blake Brayley this year. And I think he's well on his way to earning a New South Wales Blues jersey next year, in my opinion.
Leads the comp for hookers in try assists, leads the comp in dummy half runs, in tackles made. He's got a bunch of run meters as well.
He's played every minute of every game this year as well.
Super durable, and it's been in some crucial games too.
He did that last year and the year before.
But he's not running it up against trash teams. Like he's stepping up when they need it. So him versus Harry Grant here. You have to nod a bit of respect to Harry Grant, right? But I've seen Harry Grant sort of take a bit of a backward step when they've got the full spine available. So I think the Storm are going to need Grant to create a bit. And he could easily do it, but I just hope he comes with that attacking intent. So it's something we're going to have to watch for as well.
Definitely.
I'll just jump to some of the matchups we like too, and I'll let you talk through these, but we got the Coates versus Katoa on the wing, Warbrick versus Mulatalo. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, the wingers matchup is really interesting because it's one of those things where Mulatalo is in phenomenal form, but we've seen the kind of player that Warbrick can be. He can be that stopper. He can also jump pretty well with the best of them. He was a rugby sevens player.
He's a big athletic.
Been a little, been a little down with injury this year as well. Not quite got his confidence, I would say, until maybe that runaway try last week that just showed that he could maybe, I guess, improve on the player that he was last year as well. I think it's been a very disconjointed year for Will Warbrick. So I think that's to Mulatalo's advantage, right? Like Mulatalo's. You'd probably have to say one of the form wingers in the comp right now. 8 tries in the last 5 games. Yeah,
he's
outstanding,
and he's talking all I he's got the mouth going, the legs going.
You either love him or hate him for that reason.
I love him
as well. Yeah, there you go.
I
kind of didn't like it from Mulatalo because I didn't think he used to back it up as much as he has been the last few weeks. We'll see if that trend continues this week. But the Sharks for me, they're in some really good form, and I think the other side of the coin with Katoa. he can make a mistake, and I think that is to the Sharks' detriment in this game, having him defend against a guy like Coates, who we've seen this year is exploiting that rule that everyone's talking about, the not tackling the player in the air rule. But Melbourne are so good at doing that. You know what I mean? They find ways to score cheap tries or to score the tries that maybe not everyone else is exploiting the game, and people just get angry about it, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I think with Katoa this week, he's got to watch that, and I think we're going to see a fair few escort calls called on Jesse Ramian this week.
Yeah, there's not a lot of height out
unfortunately.
there to go up for it. I'm with you there. I think you were talking about it before, but I think Coates probably grabs a try in this one. And look, Coates is a plus matchup in the air against anyone, but Katoa is not a big unit. Katoa, though, that running game's been fantastic lately.
He's always good at that.
Yeah, but midfield in particular, just busting tackles. So, yeah, he can bring the heat there. And you look at this Storm back three, and as much as we love them, the meterage out of trouble isn't the best for them. So at times, if Cronulla can really get on top and bring the heat in defense, which, again, lacking McInnes, it's a bit tricky.
Well, they were very good at doing it last week. Although I would say the Raiders
Canberra
didn't really
battle though.
Yeah, well, Canberra didn't really throw that much at them. I think dynamics wise, I thought that Canberra really lacked a lot of ingenuity and imaginative. Like there was no creation there, and I think it was all on Fogarty. And I think we saw from Fogarty last week that maybe he's not that guy. But coming back to the Storm, I think when you got a guy like Munster, Hughes. I mean, they can go left or right, and you got Pappenhausen on the back of it. Pappenhausen can make the right decision, the right pass, or know when to go himself. I think that's going to be key this week, as well as Harry Grant working around the ruck for guys like Utoka Manu. Josh King has actually scored a few tries this year as well. I think they're a more dangerous team, the Storm, than the Raiders without Strange. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll pay that. I just think both these teams could struggle in the grand final for meterage against either Brisbane or Penrith, who we'll talk about in a sec. The other thing is the back row matchups. So Lasardi potentially starting, Sean Bloor on the bench there. Could be a late swap. You know, you don't know what's going to happen there. I personally think Lasardi plays the first 20 minutes and then Bloor comes on.
But, I think Bloor starts, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Look, regardless, Billy Burns in the form he's in. We've talked about him a bunch, but if he's up against Lasardi, the biggest assignment for the young fella. So definitely, I could see Billy Burns really lighting that up. Then on the other side of the field, again, we've got the arrows here for the advantages. And it's one each in the wings. It's one each for the back row. Eli Katoa up against T. Wilton. And Wilton's a solid unit, but not a defensive juggernaut. No. Whereas Eli Katoa, with Jarom Hughes back, his best friend, I mean, he's been performing without Hughes, but you bring Hughes back in and we could see that Eli Katoa, Jarom Hughes combo light it up. I can imagine this game going two ways, right? Either the Storm are just clinical and they just put the ball in the right spots and they get up 10-0 relatively early and they sort of steer to a good win, or it's a really emotional game and Cronulla are very aggressive and there's players, you know, going to the bin and getting concussed and all that, and there's a few barge over tries for big units like Adam Fanua-Blake and you see a big Nico Hines game again. So I think it's one of those two, and I'm leaning towards the Storm here, just to have the class to get it done.
Yeah, they definitely they're the favourites for a reason, and I think that they've got every reason right to get back into another grand final. They lost it last year. This team probably vowed to stay together and try and make it again next year. Added a couple of pieces. I think not having Nelson is a bit huge for me in this game, because going up against a forward pack of Adam Fanua-Blake, Toby Rudolph, Amanuele, Oregon Confuci, those are four big boys.
Yep.
And I just don't know. Utoka Manu is not the same type of player as a Nelson, because Nelson strikes fear into people, but he also is great at taking away.
Strikes fear into his own coach.
Yeah, but he's also great at taking away from, you know, maybe some less, I don't know how to put this, some lesser known players. He attracts a lot of attention, Nelson, and then those guys can work off the back of that. Not having him, I think, is a huge weakness for the Storm this week. The Sharks, to me, are on the kind of surge, along with another team in our next game, that could just end up with a year that has had a lot of things happen. It would be really great for me to see a team who no one expected to be there get there. And I think the Sharks, that the way that they've kind of stormed into this season, I think everyone kind of rode them off a bit, and I'm guilty of that too. I mean, I picked them to win the competition at the start of the year. If they go about it this way, then I'll be more surprised than ever, because I had also written them off and thought they were nothing 2 weeks ago, and they've put together two very impressive wins. I thought the Roosters beat them. I thought the Raiders had beat them. And, you know, Jai at Blindside, I think he gives us a bit of stick for it. But I picked the Sharks to win the comp this year, and I'm going to stick by that prediction and have them beat this Storm side who really haven't gelled all season. Like, you could probably say that they haven't put together a full 80 minutes once this year. And I can't point to a performance for the Storm where I've been like, man, they looked really good. They're going to win the comp this year. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was more confident in them, they would have gone out there and they would have won the minor premiership. But they didn't do that. They've been very feeble in some games this year. And I don't like that this game is down at Amy Park. Like, they win a lot of games at Amy Park. Don't get that wrong. But this Sharks team have been one of the
You're tipping the Sharks,
more recent teams.
Stop dancing around it.
They've been one of the more recent teams to gone down there.
I'm Miles Bergen and tipping the Sharks.
Yeah, of course I'm tipping the Sharks.
All right, he's got the Sharks at the Storm. We are of no help in terms of people's tipping comps at the moment or any bets. Now, Broncos v Panthers up next. And for this game here, you've got Brisbane in sensational form with some big changes to their side. And the Panthers going off some pretty big wins here. So beat the Warriors 24-8, a very favorable forward pass call. I'll just mention that. When they're up by 6, I think that one was
we're like 20 seconds into talking about this game, and you have already.
I just think the Warriors were robbed, but that's
already put through.
Yeah, look,
Warriors were robbed.
My full disclosure on massive.
Oh my god, are you about to say the Dogs were robbed too? Or
well, I mean the Dogs
no.
They nearly scored that try.
The best thing about that game is there is no excuses.
No.
Come up with
so Galvin had they were down. I think it was 40-20 with 40-20 with about 12 minutes to go. And what was it? 26. Anyway, 40-20, 12 minutes to go. And Galvin threw a big cutout pass instead of passing to a wide over from Preston for the 18th time in a row, which just kept working. Right. And they would have scored a try there and would have been very interesting. But no, look, it was going to be a long shot.
Most people said Galvin was the best player on the field for the Dogs.
I think the fact that the Panthers just didn't want to tackle Jacob Preston made him look a lot better than he was. But he played fundamentals footy that was pretty decent. I don't think we saw enough from Burton. I think that's why
I don't think we've seen enough from Burton this entire year.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that guy.
No.
I think he's a great player. I don't think he's the player on your team in a comp winning team, though. And that's a hard thing to be, right? Like maybe he grows into it.
I'm starting to wonder what his best position is because I don't know if it's center.
Maybe it's 6.
I don't know if it's center. I don't know if it's 6. It's
6,
certainly not 7.
5/8, mate.
People are talking about fullback.
No, 5/8. Great playmaker. He's probably not quick enough for fullback in my view.
No.
Great long kicking game there. Can run the ball. You just tell him, hey, go out there, run for 130 meters, kick the ball a bit.
Would he be more like a Latrell type fullback? But I don't think he has the running game for that.
I mean, he has the running game, but does he speed wise defend well back there? Like, I think he'd have a bit of the Guthsons, especially as he gets past sort of 30 years old.
I can see that. Yeah,
he gets sort of caught out a bit. Like Gutho, great defender, but not quite quick enough.
Anyway,
let's get into this game here. So Broncos v Panthers. Some key players here. So key matchups. I'll hit them up, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on these. Reece Walsh versus Nathan Cleary really is a battle of the creation from those two. Who can create the points? And we saw against Canberra in that comeback win, it was Reece Walsh coming back and creating a shit ton of points in that game.
Yeah.
Nathan Cleary has done it over and over again against Brisbane in 2023, right? So he's done it too. And you've got this battle of the middle forwards here. And I've put it on Payne Haas there versus basically the entire middle rotation. But I'm going to put it on Mitch Kenny right now, just because I think that Brisbane middle third is just such a juggernaut defensively. You've got no Pat Carrigan there. You look at this Broncos forward pack, and to generate some momentum through the middle, it's going to have to be a bit of Payne Haas because, I mean, Karapani, Mariner, Walsh, they're all good runners of the ball, but they're not Edwards, Alamotti, To'o. So I worry a bit that the Panthers suffocate Brisbane a bit here unless, Brisbane can find some attack.
Yeah, I think Brisbane are going to be doing a lot of work out of trouble early. I think that's just what Penrith do. But they managed to find a way to break that mold, right, in 2023, and then unconventionally, the Panthers had to come up with a different way to win that game. They weren't going to do it the way they won last year's grand final, for example. They just suffocated Melbourne. Melbourne scored 6 points. That's not going to happen in this game.
Parramatta.
I think this game it'll be 20 plus to 20 plus. If anything, I think the Broncos win it very heavily.
If it's 20 plus, the Broncos win.
Yeah, but I think they win it heavily, like in terms of they could run away with this. The Broncos are the one team in this one, to me, that could run away with it. And I know that Panthers ran away with the game last week. Probably just wanted to save themselves a little bit. bit of gas and let the team back into the game.
Dogs
at the
were.
end of
They
the
were
game.
right in that game.
Oh
man.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think
Once it
for,
got to 36,
I think for a guy like Reese, and unfortunately, as much as it's going to probably weird out a couple of Broncos fans or people who didn't watch the game this year. At the start of the year, they had Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds in there, and I don't like that, and neither do you. And I'd like you to tell us why.
Let me talk about it, man. Yeah, because like it's all about stats with me.
Yeah,
so this is Reece Walsh numbers with Reynolds and without Reynolds, right? And that's the combination there, and it's pretty stark here. So run meters, 130 meters a game with Reynolds, 195, nearly 200 meters a game without Reynolds. So you got this uplift of 70 meters a game. Tackle bust, you go from 2.8 to 10 per game. And tries,
it's ridiculous.
0.5 to 1.3. And the big thing I notice here is the ownership that he takes and the physicality he plays.
Yeah,
with,
I'd love to be able to see touches of the ball because
it's probably massively increased as well. But he just plays so physically. And you can tell that he views it when Reynolds is out as the result is on his shoulders. And it's going to reflect on him whether they win or not. And he gives everything to it.
It's like having your dad play in the same team as you, right? Like you kind of want, like when you're your dad's out of the team, you're kind of like, oh, yeah, this is my team now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, parents aren't at home. And then, like, your parents come home and it's like,
yeah.
And it's like, oh, I got to be a little bit.
The worry, too,
on my best behavior.
The worry, too, is that Hunt is not playing 6 probably. Like, and
He's a shell of the Hunt that we know.
He could. Like, Hunt's a bit of an older half, right? But a few
his
years ago,
second field goal in NRL history for him last week. His second one. He's played halfback for how many years?
I loved him at halfback though. Like, I think he can play that Reynolds role. He can't play the Ezra role though. Like, he's not running the ball. Like, I didn't get the numbers, but the average would be around 20 or 30 meters a game playing at 6. It's just not effective. And what Walsh needs is a running 6 that actually pulls the defense in a bit, give him a bit of space, and then between him and Ezra, it's pick your poison. You're going to get screwed either way.
Yeah,
let one of them score. Whereas with Ben Hunt, you need Pia Kura and Ricky and these guys to be the threat, and otherwise everyone just slides out, and then all of a sudden Reece Walsh and Tony Staggs are getting sort of squished for space.
But that also, I guess, limits the room for guys like Shibasaki, who've been great this year. Karapani, who I actually think has been really good as well.
Do we think that Ezra comes in and starts though? Because
no, I don't. No, I think we were talking about this a little bit before. I think with Smoothie being there as well, it's a bit odd to me. But Pakes and Smoothie, like, I don't know why he's starting at lock. I don't think that'll happen as well. I think they might change that around. Maybe Xavier Willison comes in,
or Hetherington.
Or Hetherington. But
what's the plan then? How do you see
going to 9?
Well, I personally think after 30 minutes, Ezra comes on for the last 10 minutes of the first half because they know what he can do. And he plays the remaining 50 minutes of the game. Ben Hunt goes to hooker for 50 minutes, maybe gets subbed at some point again for Corey Pakes or something like that.
Because you'd hate to see Ezra in a situation where he also needs a bit of revenge too, because the Panthers and Nathan Cleary robbed him of a very well-earned Clive Churchill medal.
One of the greatest grand final performances ever.
Exactly, right? So, and a lot of people still remember it, but it will be forgotten because they didn't win the game, right? And that's what the legacy will tell us. But I think with Ezra, he's got a point to prove as well. He spent the first 10 games on the sideline. He owes it to his team to go out there and have a good performance. I think you get a good performance out of Ezra. The one thing I would not like to see is if the Broncos get down in this game, they're down like 18-0. And then they're like, oh, well, may as well chuck Ezra on. Like, I don't want to see that version of the Broncos. I want to see him in it, but then go for the jugular. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hopefully it's not that, right? Like, hopefully it's a competitive game. Good to watch. But I would love Brisbane to win this game. That's I'll be rooting for Brisbane hard. And there's a few reasons why.
Brisbane versus Sharks grand final. Interesting.
I think Brisbane Storm will happen. But matchups here. So I'll let you talk about this, but you're particularly enjoying that right edge for the Broncos, and tell us why.
Well, I think they're in form, right? That's the key here. I think Staggs has possibly had his best season.
Oh, yeah.
I would say.
Consistently, too. Like, and in important games. He hasn't been that guy previously, but he's really stepped it up.
Back half of the year, plus a new contract, I think has also maybe spurred him on to be like, all right, well, I'm a guy here now. I've been a seasoned veteran for a long period of time. I need to start showing that form every week. And we know he can run hard, break some tackles. So I think Casey McLean is going to have a very good game this week. Kind of similar to the way he played against Crichton the first time that they played the Dogs. And he locked Crichton up, right? And you've got to do that to Staggs. You give him a bit of room, a bit of wind up. I think he could bury you. And then the guy standing next to him, we saw what Jacob Preston did to him last week. Jordan Ricky it has to be running at Blaze Talangi. I think almost every set, every chance that they
if
have.
Ricky's not taking 15 runs in this game, they've completely screwed up.
They have.
They have totally shot themselves in the foot.
They got to direct so much traffic at Blaze Talangi. It's
just beat them.
It's an easy formula to win the
Yeah.
game. And
you know what's going to happen? They're just going to start collapsing in on that spot, and then all of a sudden you got Reece Walsh out the back.
Yeah,
and Ezra comes on. Maybe
you got Mariner who's got speed, and then
give him
Tony Staggs who can
mate.
break some tackles as well. Like I think it opens up other players on the back of Ricky just taking these crash ball type runs, and he could break through himself too. Like there's no stranger to that. I think Preston had three clean line breaks on Blaze Talangi last week.
99 fantasy points. One of the best fantasy games of the year.
Yeah, like, it's forgotten.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh, it means nothing.
But I am a little bit concerned of the Broncos. Are they going to be stupid enough to think that they can win the game doing something else, or are they going to go elsewhere?
Well, we've seen this halves combo before, and earlier in the year it was this. I don't know. I would love if they rocked up on game day and Ezra Mam started.
Yep.
I hope that happens. I don't know if he's fit enough. I have no inside mail on this, but I'd just love to see him starting because I think that's their best configuration. I think they have too much firepower for Penrith to handle. And by think, I mean hope. I can't believe I'm rooting for a Broncos team here this hard, but
it's weird. It feels weird.
You got to root against the 5 in a row, right?
You kind of feel like all 4 of these teams didn't really show the most consistent performances during this year. I think Penrith will last 12 rounds into the season. Yeah. The Broncos, I think no one really took them seriously. Didn't they lose Magic Round at home? I feel like we watched them lose. They got hammered at Magic Round.
I think it was by Penrith. So.
Yeah, hammered at Magic Round.
We were a bit hammered
by the team who were terrible.
Yeah,
like they were already last at that point. I think the Panthers, and I'm perplexed as to how these two teams have ended up in the prelim final. But here we are. And
Brisbane always had it.
This middle third.
There was a game earlier in the year in the wet. I think it was about round 10 where they pounded the Bulldogs, just pounded them.
Yeah,
in the wet.
I remember that. Yeah,
you just sort of saw this gear and this physicality they had that they could unlock at any time.
Well, one part of the physicality isn't there this week. Like Carrigan's not there. I think we have to address that because I'm not going to say Moses Leota and Lindsay Smith and these guys like this have been lighting the world on fire.
Though, Leota, Kenny, Smith, Yo.
Yeah.
It's suffocating. Like they just put in more effort than anyone else in defense. And they can do that because
their
back
guys
three,
like Liam Henry is all effort.
Their back three just generates so many meters that they don't have to worry too much about attack.
I'd also like to say I think Isaiah Papali'i, he has been one of the form.
Oh, that guy.
No, he's been one of the form forwards of the competition the last month.
I just miss him from Parramatta. That's all. But
when he comes on, he adds something.
I mean, he was the best back rower in the comp when he left Parramatta.
Yeah,
he was the Dally M back rower of the year. So he's showing a bit of that form that he had previously.
Yeah, so they're a little bit small in the middle. Like I think Liam Henry and Isaiah Papali'i aren't the biggest dudes, but I think they're very versatile.
Do you think Xavier Willison opens things up here, or do you think it's a quiet one? I mean, it's been a while on the sidelines, though.
If he can find the kind of form that he had while he was playing edge, I think earlier this year as well, like he was scary on the edge. We had
a few games where he played middle when Haas was out. Like we saw mini Haas basically, and if he can be mini Haas, but they actually, I think they need it.
It's very funny.
They really need it.
I don't know if Ben Tolte thought he'd be in this position come this time of the year.
I'm a big Tolte fan, by the way,
as well. I like.
That's a guy who loves every second of it. You can tell.
Like, he scored a couple of tries. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's been great to watch. But
one of the best try scoring props in the game, Ben Tolte. Yeah. So
I think Kenny being back is huge for Penrith, though. As you said, just really.
He locks
makes 50 tackles and just doesn't miss.
He's a classic defensive hooker, and for Penrith that makes sense. Their whole system is built on people doing one job really well, right? And they've built that up here. So game script wise, how do you see it going, and who are you tipping?
I think if the Broncos don't start hot, they don't need to worry because they are the team that has put on some massive comebacks this year as well. I think Penrith just get him though, and I don't want to say it's experience coming to the floor again, but I think this Broncos team without Pat Carrigan, I think it's a huge loss. Yeah. Not only what he brings physically, but what he brings voice-wise out there on the field. He's a calm head out there.
I'm just going to throw this out there, by the way.
And he also comes down Reece Walsh a lot.
Suspensions in the finals. I wish Carrigan.
Well, I don't think Reece Walsh should be playing this game either.
I don't think anyone should be suspended in the finals unless you've done something that influenced the result or injured someone. right?
I think if you do something pretty disgusting, like if you swinging arm someone, or
I'd
like,
rather more sin bins,
defenseless
more
person.
send-offs. Keep it in the one game. Give the advantage to the team they're playing at
but
that moment.
Do you sacrifice the quality of the game that we're watching, as opposed to
You need to give the advantage to the team that gets penalized. Like, sorry, it's the penalty committed against them though.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay.
instead of
in
Carrigan
real
being
time,
suspended,
yeah.
I'd rather he be sent off and not suspended.
In real time,
Yeah, give the advantage to Canberra that week instead of giving the advantage to Penrith for some reason the following week, right?
Yeah,
I think you contain it in one game.
I still think,
that would be a whole overhaul of the
the
referee
fact that
system.
Hudson
Yeah.
Young got sin bin for saying a few
Yeah,
words,
insane. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, and
And
I think-
Mortalo's got to be
Look,
nervous.
I remember going to a game. I think it was it a Monday night game at Parramatta where Jared. Do you know how many weeks did Jared Hayne get for headbutting?
Oh, the
Billy
gentle
Slater.
little butterfly kiss.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
he
him
got a
he
few.
got like
Yeah.
4 or 5
That was
weeks.
around
for
when
something
Manu
like
Ma'u got 5 weeks for running hard.
Yeah,
One point as well. The
yeah.
Para and a different kettle of fish. But
Mm.
look, I've got the Broncos winning this one. I just think like there's been games where they've been written off lately.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm backing Ezra to play a big role in this game. That's kind of contingent in what I'm predicting here. I know you don't think that's going to happen.
I
think it
said that he has to.
Yeah,
He has every
plays,
reason to.
I think he plays big minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I just think they're gonna score the points when they need to, and like you said, a bit of a higher scoring game. I could see that happening.
Mm.
I think on the edges, we've seen a bit of fragility from Penrith at times, and this Brisbane team is lights out right now. But they've just got to hit, like you said, Jordan Ricky, those short balls, because if Penrith are allowed to slide, they will slide all day, and Walsh is going to have a bad time. So Jordan Ricky needs to step up. And Pia Kura, I think this might be a game where he steps up as well. So at the start of the game, I see them getting those short balls and running like they're ready to kill someone. Yeah, I'll be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think a lot of these Penrith guys just switch into playoff mode though. Like there's performances that we've seen from Toto.
Are you going riff here?
Yeah, I'm going the riff.
Yeah,
man, I want to make it to a fifth straight grand final, sixth straight grand final. This team just keeps coming up with the answers, and I think everyone's waiting for the fall. I think you are too, by some sort of extent of bias. But taking all bias out of it,
openly biased as well. And
I also look
it.
As a Cowboys fan, I can't think of anything worse than seeing the Broncos in the grand final. So I think if you want a little bit of bias from me, Broncos fans, it's a little bias.
I've got a Broncos and Storm. I mean, if you admit you're biased, you're allowed to be biased. That's my view on these things. So yeah. But I'm predicting a Broncos Storm grand final, which we're going to be there, by the way, courtesy of SwiftX. So
appreciate that
see that. But Broncos Storm grand final is, I don't know who I'll root for in that one. Hopefully a game cancellation.
Well, it's interesting. Well, it's interesting to know Sydney teams again in the grand final.
I mean, you'll want to be Penrith Sharks. I worry about the Sharks in that matchup.
Yeah. Look, I think the Sharks with momentum give me a very good team. It's also, I think it's a nice story, like for the Sharks, because they played in Vegas this year, those two teams. It's a very good game. Wow. 26-22, I think, in the end.
It's good.
Yeah, over in Vegas. Yeah.
I was at the casino. I was planning
at the casino.
I was planning to get a few beers into me, and
in Vegas,
the first beer was like $25.
I
was like, well, I'm not getting on it today.
I'm not getting any beers today.
I'm not well paid enough for that. Yeah. Look, guys,
I'm a Star Bar with the $11, the $3 beers.
That was nice. Hey guys, let us know your tips for this week. Burgz, thanks for jumping on, mate. We're going to be doing a bunch of off-season content as well, looking at a few things, some rankings list, a few other things there as well. So keep an eye out for that. We're always going to keep that data focus as well. But the Para bias will be on show from me, and I don't think you have Cowboys bias. I think for you, it's more of a...
Other people would say Knights. People have said Warriors this year.
Knights bias or Knights hater?
Yeah, like I'm a Knights hater.
Well, yeah, you are.
Cowboys bias?
You're allowed, like, don't trust an analyst or, a podcaster or whatever it is who doesn't admit their bias, because they have one. Everyone's got one. Yeah. You've got one. I've got one. Everyone watching this has one.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't admit it, then you've got a secret one.
Yeah.
Ours are out in the open.
I just get more angry at the Cowboys than any other team as well. So I think everyone who watches my videos knows that.
Yeah. Anyway, cheers, Burgz. Thanks everyone for jumping on. We'll see you guys on the next one.